No filters, no neural sync, just base code nostalgia. Strap in, retro geeks. It's time to glitch through the past. What's the frequency, Genfinity? Neural fist bumps to all you beautiful gearheads hitting up the node. This is Backtrack. All right, I've unearthed one of the big ones from Dad's handheld days.
The year was 2024, and Nikon pulled the stunt of the industry, buying RED. Everybody started speculating about what that would mean.
Nikon is getting into the high-end cinematography space.
About a year and a half later, minds were blown by a tiny Nikon RED beast. This was the first in Nikon's cinema line, the ZR, a compact cinema camera with RED branding, introducing the new R3D codec. Nikon delivered on the promise to bring the coveted RED-grade cinematic soul to a pocket-sized body.
It was based on the preceding Z6 III camera, a 24-megapixel full-frame sensor with 15+ stops of dynamic range and a 7.5 stop IBIS.
In 2025, this was a big deal since pocket cameras were in style and camera brands were coming out with their versions of slim chassis body. Nikon managed to cram dual base ISO of 800 and 6400 and 6K recording at 60p into this little monster. But the 4K 120p recording was cropped to 1.25. They had a bunch of codecs in the ZR, but they clearly prioritized RED wide gamut RGB with a log curve to match the other RED cameras.
Since apparently the others weren't as crisp, but this was the main selling point anyway.
Another big addition was 32-bit audio. This was the first camera to integrate 32-bit float, both through the built-in mic and the 3.5mm jack.
How did they ever record audio without 32 bits, you ask? That's beyond me. Probably some analog setup or something. ZR ensured audio would always be salvageable, plus Nikon added 5 pickup modes through separate on-body mics. Cute.
The digital shoe would connect smart accessories, but at the time of launch of the ZR, there was a lot of pushback for not providing the top handle right away. Another selling point for Nikon was the flip-out screen. Other brands suddenly felt out-inched by ZR's 4-inch 1000 nit touch panel. Of course, for the first iteration of a RED pocket cinema camera, Nikon had to limit how much they would include. So the ZR had a few quirks that had people wondering if it could truly be called a cinema camera,
or it was rather an overclocked vlogger cam. It had this old school minimalist vibe that traded comfort for form, giving way to major price creep. Once you'd buy all the accessories for rigging it, suddenly you'd be in NFT debt. The ZR had no EVF, so blind framing, ghost mode, you know what I mean?
No grip on the body, zero ergonomics, hope your hand firmware is upgraded. A cinema camera with only a few buttons and no customization for the dials. Good luck figuring out the menu.
And of course, no serious weather sealing. Dad called this run and gun. I call it wet and dead.
The biggest bummer was the micro HDMI. If you're not familiar, that port was so fragile, one sneeze and you're unplugged from reality. Depends on who you ask, this was either a banger or a miss. But whatever different fanboys said, it was a definite next step in camera evolution. And at 0.019 coin, this ZR was straight up cinematic value wrapped in microblock size. It was not flawless, but yo, it was soul print tech that felt like a lucid upgrade for creators on the run. Thanks for your bandwidth as we reminisced about this retro beauty. Remember, if Pops could shoot bangers with this old school clicker, you can definitely create something amazing.
Go out and shoot, cause frequency is forever, and you are the firmware. Signal in next time.